We're hopping into game one of our best of 5 here, starting on hard lead. This is the grand finals of KSL week number 42. We have a potentially surprising name here. I think if you looked at this bracket, you would not expect this man to have made it to the finals, but he does have arguably the best PvP in Korea. Taking down some big Protoss names to get here. It is NightMare. Making it here despite being teamless. Got to get him on a team. His opponent in the upper left-hand corner, he has a lot of experience being teamless. He won a GSL and a BlizzCon while being teamless. Although right now he is representing the Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Should be an absolute banger of a series. And as we get into this grand finals, I'll remind you guys to do a few things for me if you wouldn't mind. Number one is hitting that subscribe button on YouTube, follow button on Twitch. That's number one, is combined. Maybe one of those things. You get to choose. It's like a choose your own adventure. Number two would be checking out the Matcherino for this event, which will be either in the description of the YouTube video or !Matcherino in the chat. Yeah, add a 25 cents coupon code if you wouldn't mind. It's free for you. It gives 25 cents to the players. Every little bit counts. And third, this one's fully optional, but consider checking out the Patreon if you want to support the KSL and get the replays from this event and every other KSL we do. We are fully funded by the Patreon as a crowd-funded tournament. Right now with our budget, we have one tournament every other week. Would love to get back up to weeklies, but for right now, happy to do the bi-weeklies. A lot of excellent players in today's bracket. And it all culminates in the grand finals, as ByuN already gets a probe kill with his first Reaper. Looking for a second one, but has to run away from this Adept. Got to be a little careful. The Adept will 3-tap the Reaper. Some great micro from ByuN, though. Gets around that Nexus, gets the second kill, and yeah, scouts the Stargate, knows what he's up against. Oh my god, keeps the pressure on too. Doesn't get the third kill, at least not yet. And with 2 Adepts out, I feel like he shouldn't get the third kill. He dove in for a kill, but didn't quite get it. Ooh, and NightMare. Cheeky cancels the Stargate. Drops down the Twilight Council. So that scout from ByuN suddenly no good. And now he's probably going to build a Viking here. Oh no, it's a medevac. Well, I was going to say, it feels like he's just going to go for the anti-air, but ByuN not too concerned about it. Wants to put on a little pressure of his own. He's going to get the Cyclone out. The medevac with a few Marines. Oh, even a second Cyclone. NightMare's going to go straight for Blink. Now, we've seen a lot of Blink Stalker play against Terran lately. It's pretty good. I mean, just in general, Blink Stalkers are really good. But right now, NightMare, he's got 3 gates, a Robo, and Blink on the way. So, potential for a very powerful attack here if he wants to go for it. I think the 3 gate's been the more common version of the aggression towards the Terran. And we're going to drop a shield battery out front as ByuN is here with the Cyclone and a handful of Marines. It's going to be annoying to deal with. So the medevac can keep these Marines healed up for a little extra long while the Cyclone just keeps getting damage done. The shield battery going to be forced to cancel here as the lock-on forces the Stalker back. This pylon actually in some issue, or in some trouble here. As the Cyclone gets the kill on the Stalker, the pylon is going to go down to the Marines. A second Cyclone shows up with 2 more Marines, and suddenly NightMare is in a world of trouble. His Robo and both of these gateways depowered. This pylon will not power either gateway. It's just the Robo. Probe's getting pulled into Marines with the medevac healing them. And the Cyclone's coming back over. The hot pickup from ByuN. He dodges the Stalker shots 3 times in a row. And the Liberator sieges up on the ramp. That is just GG. And ByuN with a 5-minute victory in game 1. Just kind of dumpsters NightMare in the opening there. Wow. I will say that's a bit of a build order win. Not all on the players there. Some of it does come down to just that little bit of maybe luck, but also maybe just a good read on ByuN's part. Putting that pressure on really punished NightMare for canceling that Stargate. I like the move in general, trying to mind game your opponent. You saw Stargate, suddenly I'm not going Stargate. Hopefully by the time ByuN figures that out, there's a bunch of Blink Stalkers ready to go. But ByuN, being the hyper-aggressive Terran that he is, did not give NightMare a moment to get those Stalkers up, to get even those gateways up. One of the gateways wasn't even a warp gate yet. And if there had been 2, 3 Phoenixes coming out at that point, I think NightMare's okay. I think he lives. But because he canceled that, his production was very low. He spent all that extra money and all that extra build time on a Twilight Council that was late, Blink that was late, and instead ends up just getting bopped in game 1. Not a good start to the series for our Protoss player. Fortunately, it is a best of 5. And spawning in the lower right-hand corner of Oceanborn, he's got a few more chances to pull this one back. It's NightMare. His opponent off to a good start. Up 1-0 in a quick game 1. It's ByuN for the Shopify Rebellion. Dodging those stalker shots is just the coolest thing. It's just so cool. It's such a ByuN move too. I love it. I love it so much. I will say NightMare had a really good run against a few Terrans. I think it was like a week and a half ago. I don't think it was this most recent EPT Cup. I think it was the one a week before that. If I'm not mistaken. But NightMare took down Gumiho and then Oliveira in some really sick PVTs. Those matches are up on my YouTube. He was stopped by Cure, so definitely wasn't invincible against the Terrans, but I feel like beating Gumiho and Oliveira is a good track record of this matchup recently. So ByuN starts up 1-0, but NightMare definitely has the ability to pull it back. Those were best of 3s, though, so it might be a little bit tougher in a best of 5. Got that extra win you need to get over your opponent. NightMare is not somebody I usually think of as like a super emotional player that's going to let a loss in game 1 get to him. Some players, and I feel like I would probably be this kind of player, if you get bopped like that in game 1, it can be really tough to like pull it back mentally in the next games. Oh, this is cute. Look at that. ByuN looking for the probe, but the probe is just hiding in the bush. Just hiding in the bushes. The Reaper's not going to be able to find it. Probe's actually just going to go back and hang out by the natural. ByuN is putting the CC up on the high ground, though. It looks like he's going to go for a Widow Mine drop here. NightMare is putting down the Stargate again. This time he probably won't cancel it. I like the idea, again, of canceling it last game. I think that was a cute idea. But as we see, sometimes the cancel doesn't end up helping you as much as you'd like it to. Reaper doing its best to stay alive. Can it get out? It's healed up quite a bit. It's healed up enough to tank one more shot, and out it gets. ByuN's Reaper Micro, second to none. He might even be able to sneak in the base and see the Stargate if he wants to. The Stargate is finished now, and it's a Phoenix first. I like this out of NightMare. I'm just not a huge fan of Oracles against Terran. They could be good, you know, later on in the game, I feel like. Tagging units and things like that, but I don't know. They never feel like they get a lot of harassment damage done, and Phoenixes are just a much more versatile early game unit. I actually see more SCVs go down to like 4 Phoenixes than I ever do to even 2 Oracles. I feel like. Well, the Reaper does get a kill right before it goes down, though. The thing is, the Oracle, if you guys aren't aware, the amount of damage the Oracle does every like attack cycle, it takes 3 hits to kill an SCV, whereas it takes 2 hits to kill a probe or a drone. Torkoal's much better against Protoss or Zerg than they are against Terran, because that extra cycle of damage, it compounds, right? Takes 3 hits to kill 1, 6 to kill 2. All of a sudden, you're at 9 to kill 3, which would have killed 4 probes or 4 drones already, and I don't know, it's just usually doesn't get too many SCV kills anyways. And I love Phoenix openers against Terran. I think they're really strong against harassment-based Terran openers. We did see that Widowmine come out earlier, although I don't think it ended up being a Widowmine drop. But that could have been because ByuN doesn't want to do that against a Phoenix opener. Phoenixes can just fully hard counter Widowmine drops by lifting up the Widowmines. It's a good strat. Also things like Liberators can have a tougher time finding damage. But ByuN's going to go for a big move out, and this is a weakness of the Phoenixes, right? They don't take straight up fights quite as well. They can be very useful in some situations in straight up fights, lifting up key units. If there's a really important unit in the army, they can lift it up. But all of this shoots up for ByuN, and that could be a problem. Now, the Liberator's going to get seen and killed, but that means 2 Phoenixes are not here for the fight as ByuN shows up. He's got those 2 Widowmines. ByuN's going to have to be a little bit careful. Those Widowmines could get dragged over the army and do a lot of damage to these Marines. But in the meantime, ByuN might be able to force a cancel on this base. It's getting very low. There's the cancel, the kill on the pylon. ByuN wants to keep the pressure on. There's the lift up on one of the Widowmines. He gets the second one as well. No Widowmine damage done here. And ByuN is going to back up. I think that's a wise move. I don't think he really needs to stick around. He already forced the cancel on the 3rd. He killed a pylon. I don't think ByuN really needs to stick around too much, but NightMare wants to take a fight out here. That is a bit of a bold move. The medevac stays alive. It will finally fall. As most of these adepts go down, the Phoenixes are pushed away. Phoenixes, though, going to find a couple errant Marines here. Might be able to grab an SCV or 2 as well if they want to, but it looks like they're just going to go for some Marines for now. They see the 3rd CC being finished up already, so NightMare, I think he wants to try to get as much economic damage as he can. Cyclones are coming up to try to push this back, but there's already 6 SCVs. This is very fantastic for NightMare. So some excellent counter damage there, as ByuN just didn't have anything back at home. His production was all in process, in progress. So he didn't really have any units to deflect these Phoenixes, and now 7 workers go down just like that, not to mention a few Marines, keeping ByuN down in the army supply and in the worker count. NightMare, his 3rd base is almost done. ByuN has not been able to put his down just yet, so even though he's had it done for a while, I actually really like NightMare's position now off the back of this. He's got a lot of ground units too. Charge is done. He's got +1 and Blink on the way, but right now he's just going to hang out outside this base. Stim combat shields and 1-1 are all on the way for ByuN. But for right now, these are very naked Marines. Marines are not nearly as good as you'd normally expect Marines to be. But I feel like NightMare sees just how many Marines there are. He needs to get some splash damage out, man. There's already 23 Marines. And once they have all these upgrades, that's going to be a very powerful force to reckon with. Oh, he is kind of drawing out part of this army. ByuN. Stim is not quite done yet. I don't know if NightMare is going to move in on this. He's got some Widowmine, so maybe better not to move in. Gonna try to shade some adepts forward. Oh, yeah, those adepts can absolutely get in there. ByuN not reacting. He's gonna stim now and should be able to take down these adepts fairly quickly. But that's when the Zealots move into this space. Widowmine doesn't get the connection. Phoenix is in the main as well as the War Prism in the main. NightMare is all of a sudden absolutely everywhere. It does look like ByuN's going to be able to clean this up fairly easily. These Zealots just not finding any purchase down at the 3rd. The Adepts got a couple of kills, but the Zealots in the main also getting cleaned up fairly easily. 7, 8 SCVs going down, so a bit of damage. But ByuN, he holds on pretty solidly. NightMare does have a 4th base going down behind this, and a lot of this is to buy time. NightMare's trying to get into Colossi and Thermal Lance, and if he can get like 3 or 4 of those out, ByuN's going to have a really hard time pushing across the map with a Bio Army against that much splash damage. He's going to need to start getting into Vikings or Liberators to deal with it. But I love that NightMare is just buying time, just keeping that economy a little bit lower. for the Terran here, getting even another SCV kill and delaying a turret being built. And in the meantime, he's just getting further ahead on the other side of the map. Second Colossus is about to pop. Thermal Lance is almost done. NightMare is quite a bit behind in the upgrades, although every time I say that about a Protoss, it ends up like not mattering basically at all. That might matter though. A few Phoenix going down as they fly over the army. I think they got some medevac kills, but I don't know if that's entirely worth it. NightMare grouping up his whole army. Now he wants to attack. He wants to put some pressure on and try to keep ByuN's army supply down. Some Vikings are starting to come out right now, but they're not here just yet. And the Colossi are. Zealots coming in from both sides. And ByuN is just caught in the corner. Oh, I think this is just going to be a sweep for NightMare. That looks like we have a tied up series. There's the GG. And NightMare ties us up 1-1. Beautiful game. Honestly, like start to finish, very well played by NightMare. He was forced to cancel his third. That was basically the only damage ByuN got, and it was immediately countered by all those SCVs dying, a few Marines dying on the other side of the map. Really, really nicely handled by NightMare. And because of that Phoenix presence and the very late like stim, combat shields 1-1, all being pretty late for ByuN, just because of the way he opened aggressively, he wasn't able to put any pressure on across the map. You know, he couldn't lift up in a medevac because there were Phoenixes out. He couldn't just push across because he didn't have those upgrades. And by the time he got them, there's charge lots out. There's Colossi on the way. NightMare's putting that pressure on. So now ByuN has to play defensively. And it's just very excellently played by NightMare start to finish. Really good PvT. Certainly makes, I think, NightMare feel better about game one. Because ByuN did kind of a similar style move out, right? It was a little bit less aggressive. He didn't just push straight across the map, but similar style with the Cyclones and Marines. But instead of it getting like, instead of it winning the game, it got a little bit of damage done that NightMare was able to mitigate. And bring us straight in to game number 3, all tied up. Spawning in the lower right-hand corner of Site Delta, we have a NightMare. The currently teamless Protoss looking for a team. And showing some great results to convince a team to pick him up. His opponent in the upper left-hand corner for the Shopify Rebellion, it is ByuN. Now, ByuN has won a couple of KSLs, but NightMare has not won any. He's been to 3 finals, but he has not been able to secure the victory, losing to Dark and then Hero twice. But I feel like this might be his best shot. Again, his PvT has been looking sharp lately. Game 1, obviously, of this series not looking great, but I feel like Game 2 really shows NightMare's strength and shows that he is a force to be reckoned with in this matchup. And, you know, I worry for ByuN a little bit in those longer games. Feels like NightMare has a good grasp on how to handle this game. Now, because of the way the build orders matched up in that last game, ByuN wasn't able to put on any pressure. So I feel like that's something ByuN might be thinking about in this game, right? Not just that super early game pressure like he's been putting on, but a mid-game pressure. How does he get to that stage where he's dropping in a couple different locations, he's got pressure on the front, or he's got split armies pushing against his opponent? That's how we see Cure able to take down all the biggest Protoss, right? Cure's PvT, or TVP, I guess, is maybe the best in the world. Probably the best in the world. And I feel like it's because he's able to get that consistent pressure on his opponent, whether it's dropping or whether it's just pushing the front, split pushing. A lot of times we'll see Cure with 2 big armies, and then he can combine them. He can pull his opponent out of position. I mean, things can get really, really crazy, but Cure usually has that pressure on non-stop. And even players like Hero really, really struggle with it. So I think that's what we need to see ByuN get into in a macro game against NightMare. He can't let NightMare keep him back pinned at home. ByuN's just going for a CC. Again, a CC in the main base. So playing it kind of safe here. The probe was able to get the scout. But I don't know if the probe's going to be or if NightMare is going to be expecting. I was expecting something different. I thought for sure this factory was going to swap onto the reactor. Maybe NightMare would be expecting that with the positioning of these buildings. Maybe he would be expecting the swap. Oh, yeah, you know what? He's actually looking for a proxy Stargate right here, or a starport. I feel like NightMare is for sure looking for a proxy starport right now because of the positioning of the factory and the barracks. This looks like it would swap on over and could potentially build Hellions. I actually love this read from NightMare. Obviously, we know it's not there. He's not going to find it. But I think this is a good read. He saw this positioning and he's like, okay, here's a possible thing my opponent could be doing. Proxying a starport to lift the Hellions into the main. I'm just going to scout for it. I'm going to go take a look for it and see if I can find it. And he's kind of eliminating possibilities of things ByuN could be doing. Now, this looks like pretty much the exact build ByuN did in game 1. I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The difference is, in game 1, NightMare went for his starport, or Stargate rather, and then canceled it. In game 2, he did not go for that cancel, but this is still just a blink opener with 3 gates. So this is going to be basically the exact same build here for both players as game 1. But this time, the shield battery is done. That's going to help out quite a bit. There could be an overcharge here for NightMare, and he's going to turn it on. And that's going to be enough to push ByuN away for now, or at least into the main base. Oh, but Blink is done, and the medevac, it's so low. And it should go down here. One Stalker trying to back up. Woo. Oh, yeah. It's all going to fall. 4 probes go down. Good target fire from ByuN there, but NightMare cleans absolutely everything up. Takes a great trade to start things off. Kills the medevac, the Cyclone, and all those Marines. And now ByuN, I mean, honestly, he's in a little bit of trouble back at home. That was a lot of early game units that are now not here to fight. Stim is very far away from being done. The 1 siege tank is up in the main base, which is going to leave the natural very vulnerable. And I think NightMare is just going to try to hit the natural first, since he doesn't have high ground vision yet. It looks like this bunker for ByuN is going to finish just in the nick of time, though. And now with the siege tank out, NightMare is going to be forced to back away. He's got the siege tank in the main as well as in the natural. There is a warp prism coming across. Cool, but there's also some auto turret harass. Going to get a couple of probe kills. And a third base on the way for NightMare. So he does not need to commit super hard to this. He can just try to poke and prod, maybe pick off some units if he can. Some Marines here or there. He doesn't really have to do too much. He's going to load up the warp prism with 4 Stalkers. The tank can hit pretty far over here. That's going to be a dead SCV building that command center. Going to be a nice delay on the 3rd. Oh, is the auto turret's going to try to drop back down. 1 more auto turret will drop. That's going to be another 2 dead probes. No, just the 1 dead probe. As the Raven will fall. I think that was the only Raven as well. So no more auto turret harass over here. The worker count's even for the time being. Oh, it looks like another SCV died here trying to build this turret. And I think as that turret builds, NightMare's just going to get out of here. So a better defense in game 3 than in game 1 for NightMare. He gets some counter damage done, but I feel like this is still a relatively even game. NightMare not really able to get a ton of damage done with the Blink Stalker opening, but I still think this is a good opening for him. He's already got Colossi coming out. Thermal Lance is already almost done. He's got Charge nearly finished. 4 more gateways coming up. If ByuN moves across the map... First of all, good kill on that prism. But if ByuN does move across the map, I feel like NightMare is going to have enough to defend and deflect whatever ByuN is sending out here. I think ByuN might just need to take this 3rd and not actually push. Maybe go for some drops. BioArmy is going to stim and try to catch this. The medevacs healing him up. Stalker's trying to get a cheeky kill there, but not quite able to. NightMare puts down a proxy pylon. He looks like he wants to put some pressure on. Could bring these Colossi up. There are 3 siege tanks here. They feel a little bit vulnerable right now, especially against a lot of charge lots. Oh, and they're all actually unsieged. So this depot at the front is not going to get finished up. Oh, NightMare. He's got a lot of army coming up here. If the Zealots come from the backside, they could draw some of this tank fire, maybe get on top of these 2 tanks. NightMare going for a big warp in up top. Even got some High Templar warping in for a big old beefy Archon boy. This is looking like a very scary attack from NightMare. He's ahead a lot of army supply. ByuN does have +1 finish, which is something that NightMare does not have. But I feel like if the spread is big enough, it might not end up mattering too much. There are the Zealots going to the bottom side. The Observer moving forward to keep an eye on things here. And it feels like NightMare's about to go in. He doesn't want to wait too long, I feel like. He's trying to find an opening. I don't know. I feel like you kind of want to split your army here. Or maybe he doesn't want to at all. He could just take the 4th base and macro out of this. But again, I feel like the longer he waits, the worse this is. +1 armor on the way here for ByuN. And that's getting very near to finish. NightMare is going to start pushing forward, though. The Colossi trying to mince up this bio. One of the tanks going down. A 2nd tank falls. The 3rd tank getting low. A lot of Zealots and some Archons on the top side as well. SCV is going to start to fall as ByuN is forced to pull back into the natural up the ramp. But the 3 Colossi still alive. There's no answer for them. Oh no, and the SCVs don't have anywhere to run. EMP hits the Colossi, but there's nothing to actually kill them in GG. NightMare waits and waits, but when he pushes in, he wins it anyways. He hit before that armor was finished for ByuN. I don't even know if that would have made a difference. Just such a big, beefy army there for the Protoss. And ByuN, again, stifled, not able to put that pressure on, right? He had that early attack, very similar to game 2. The early attack gets deflected with minimal damage, a little bit, but minimal damage. And then the counterattack from NightMare just keeps him back, keeps him at home. He can't really push out. Not taking a lot of damage, but he can't do anything. And NightMare just macroing like an absolute champ behind it, getting into that army he needs to. And ByuN just never able to put any pressure on. NightMare able to do whatever he wants. That is not bode well for the Terran. And suddenly NightMare is on match point in this finals, looking to win his first KSL. Oh, I'd actually be so stoked if NightMare won this series. I love ByuN, and I'm never sad to see ByuN win. But to see NightMare take down Hero, Classic, and then ByuN to win his first KSL would be sick. Well, let's hop in, because it's not over yet. It ain't over till it's over. And it ain't over. Spawning in the upper right-hand corner of Alcyone, trying to close this one out. It is NightMare. His opponent in the lower left-hand corner for the Shopify Rebellion, it's ByuN. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. And I ain't singing. Actually, that's probably not true. I probably have been singing a little bit. I don't know. I don't feel like I sing on broadcast as much as I used to. I feel like I should get back into that. I feel like that was something I did when I was really tired in casting. I'm usually slightly more awake these days. Less delirious when I'm talking about StarCraft. But I kind of miss the days when I would just make up random songs in the middle of casting. What am I, like a professional caster now? That's no fun. Yeah, I mean, I only got like 4 hours of sleep last night, and I had a full day of work today, but I'm not particularly tired. I have done a couple of DGen casts lately, though. The EPT Korea, sometimes I'm able to take a nap beforehand, but sometimes I work all day, and then I'm up until like 5 a.m. casting Korean StarCraft. Like 2 weeks ago, I was casting with Light, and I don't know, that was some wild casting. I feel like I was off my rocker. It's kind of fun though, like that sleep deprived casting, because I'll get energy from casting good games of StarCraft. So casting a finals while I'm sleep deprived is actually super fun. There's something like really satisfying about it. What do I do for work? I am a meat cutter at a grocery store. It's exciting stuff. Oh, that's funny. Somebody asked that in the YouTube chat at the same time as somebody asked that in the Twitch chat. Now, ByuN's changing it up this game. He's going for a 3 racks. This is a good old-fashioned 3 racks. And I think this is good for ByuN to change it up. Is the 3 racks good? I guess we'll find out. I feel like it's still a very solid build. Still has a lot of potential here for ByuN. Oh my god, NightMare's going for a Dark Shrine. Oh man. So NightMare, he scouts the CC, but doesn't really see much in the main base, right? He's not going to see these 2 barracks. So he doesn't exactly know what he's up against. And there have been Ravens being built by ByuN in these last few games, so an interesting choice for NightMare. I have seen ByuN hold DTs with a 3 racks before. It seems like something that should be very difficult, but ByuN, he's a smart guy. He knows that one of the vulnerabilities of a 3 racks is DTs, and I think he usually has a scan saved around that time. And often I have seen him put down a turret at the front, or at least a turret like somewhere in here, right? Just in case. NightMare's got a couple of shield batteries built because I think he realizes what he's up against now. He's going to see a bunch of bio coming with this probe, and that probe's going to run away immediately. Stim and combat shields are getting very close here. ByuN going to put that pressure on. Now let's see. There's a turret going down. ByuN, he's ready for the possibility of DTs. He's got 2 scans available as well, so that's going to help these units out on the map stay alive in case any DTs get warped in back at home for NightMare. Blink is getting close to being done for NightMare, but I don't think it's going to be done quite in time. I don't know, man. I think we might just be going to a game 5 here. Super shield battery turns on, but it gets gunned down by the Stim Bio. Probe's getting pulled off the line, but every Stalker is going to go down. Oh my god, it's a massacre. And there's just no shot for NightMare. I don't even know what the DTs were doing on the other side of the map, but they were probably running into reinforcement bio sitting next to a turret. No SCVs had gone down, so it looks like just a straight up hold there on the other side of the map for ByuN. And that is going to be game 5. NightMare trying to end it in a cheeky fashion, but instead gets kind of bopped. And I feel like, it might come back to bite him here. As now we're on game 5, he doesn't have that like gimme game anymore, that extra life to fall back on. Now NightMare just needs to win. It all comes down to the one game, the best of one. And thank you for the kind comments in chat, Player Cave. I don't pay enough attention to YouTube chat, but I try to. I'm not actually allowed to put YouTube chat on the screen. That's like a Twitch rule. I can have Twitch chat on the screen, but as a Twitch partner, I can't have YouTube chat on the screen. I don't know if they're going to actually enforce that, but that's why YouTube chat's not on there. So I apologize. For the YouTube chatters, only Twitch chat can be on there. Well, let's hop into game number 5 as we are spawning into Golden Aura, and in the upper left-hand corner, it's NightMare. And his worst nightmare might be getting up to match point and then losing it. His opponent in the lower right-hand corner trying to pull it back and take the win out of his opponent's hands. It is ByuN, the Shopify Rebellion, dealing with an annoying probe. Would love to see NightMare put the pylon down. The cheeky pylon to trap the SCVs here. All right, interesting what these guys are going to do. I feel like NightMare is probably going to open up pretty standard. I wouldn't be too surprised to see him go for a Stargate opener again. I feel like that worked out well for him. I feel like the Phoenix opener so far has been the cleanest game of any of them. And the most straightforward NightMare win. Game 3 was also quite nice. It was a great defense from him. So he could just open Blink also. I feel like if NightMare just opens standard and doesn't mess around, he's got a much better chance. So far, the 2 games ByuN won was obviously the DT's last game that just completely failed against the 3 racks ByuN was doing. Because again, ByuN knew the vulnerability to that build is DT's, had a turret back at home, and had scans saved, and there was just nothing NightMare could do. But also game 1 with the canceled Stargate, NightMare just put himself in a bad position, hoping that he was going to be able to make up for it by bamboozling his opponent. That just didn't happen. ByuN didn't care if it was a Stargate or a Blink opener. He scouted the Stargate and still just did his build anyways. We know this because game 2 was a Stargate opener and ByuN did a very similar build anyways. But now NightMare is going to proxy again. I say again. I don't think he's proxied so far this series, but I'm just worried that NightMare's doing something like cheeky and weird, but it feels like in the straightforward macro games, if NightMare just plays defensive macro and then counter aggresses when he holds whatever ByuN throws at him, I feel like NightMare is just like winning those games. So I don't know why he's playing very much like somebody who's not favored in a macro game, but I feel like right now his macro game is better than ByuN's. It's got another gateway going down. It's proxy gated across the map. No tech though, so this is no tech out of NightMare. Just straight up 3 gates on 2 bases. He's going to be putting that pressure on to ByuN. So now ByuN is in kind of the opposite position he's been in some of the other games, and he's going for 3 racks again, but this time it's a very fast 3rd CC with the 3 racks follow-up. So he's going to be a lot later to that heavy bio unit count than he was last game. So NightMare might have the opportunity here. He's got the Robo on the way behind this as well. Warp Gate is finishing up. The Adepts are shading in, seeing how many Marines there are. I don't think NightMare knows what's up on the high ground or anything. He doesn't have any high ground vision just yet. This bunker for ByuN is very important. More Adepts getting warped in. Oh, the Marines going out. They see a handful of Adepts. They're going to pull back. SCV is getting pulled to repair. Oh, but the Adepts make it through into the main. They're going to finish that shade and start getting some SCV kills here. And NightMare, he scouts the 3rd CC. That's really important. Marines and SCVs combining to kill these Adepts, but I think 4 of those Adepts got out of there. This bunker stays alive. Oh, the Adepts, I guess they don't get out. They just go over here. But now there's no SCVs to help them out. So these Marines are actually struggling a little bit against this. 6 SCVs went down, as well as a handful of these Marines. Obviously, a lot of production still available for ByuN. And NightMare, he's got to keep the pressure on. He doesn't have a 3rd base behind this. He's getting into a Robo Bay, and he's chronoing out this Warp Prism, so it looks like he wants to get into, I'm going to guess, Disruptors? That's going to be the best way to keep this pressure on. They build a lot quicker, but as I say that, I'm proven wrong immediately. Straight to Colossi. And it looks like NightMare is going to take a 3rd base. He knows this 3rd CC is done. He knows killing 6 SCVs really isn't that big of a deal. ByuN can remake that in like 60 seconds, right? Plus, he's got triple Mule. So he really doesn't mind losing those SCVs, trading out for the Adepts of Nightmare. But the Warp Prism is here. The Stalkers are going to drop into the main base and at least draw these Marines up, get a kill or two. Oh, the stim here making things a little bit spicy. But the Prism will get out of there with all 4 Stalkers in. Nightmare waiting for the money. Nope, spends it on 4 more gates. He's got Prism speed and a second Colossus on the way. All right, who needs a third? Nightmare doesn't need a third. But if Nightmare doesn't build a third, he's got to get damage done. He has to get big damage done. So far, he's killed 6 SCVs and 9 Marines. That's just not enough. He's actually lost more than he's killed. And that's a big problem for him right now. Oh, the bunker tanking that first shot. The Marines tanking the second shot. And so far, the Colossus has done absolutely nothing but taken a bunch of damage. It has no shields left. It's already down in the orange. Trying to dodge those Marauder shots. Some nice micro here. ByuN. Oh, he's going to lift up in the double medevac and move out. I don't think Nightmare saw that. So now things get really spicy as ByuN has a bunch of supply not here to defend. I don't think he realized Nightmare was going all in basically on 2 bases right now because that is a dead bunker. The Prism is still here for micro and ByuN is forced to just keep those medevacs going to the other side of the map. He's going to siege up a tank up on the high ground. The Prism saving that low Colossus. Oh my god, this base is getting so low though. Ooh, it's going to stay alive, but a lot of SCVs are going to die. In the meantime, the double drop is coming in. Are we going to see the recall from Nightmare? He's killed so many workers, but he's lost just as many back at home. No, he's not recalling. He's going up into the base. The Colossus getting hit by the Viking, but there's the lift up in the Prism. There's no blink on these Stalkers. They can't get into the main base the normal way. Another tank finishes up and sieges up out here. Thermal Lance is not finishing up. The main base is dying here to ByuN's double drop. I don't know where the other drop went. Maybe it got taken down by some Warpins. Nightmare's going to pull back. He's killed 38 workers, but remember, ByuN has 3 command centers still. However, Nightmare's third is done also. Whoa! Oh no, the Colossus is stopped from building. The overcharge trying to heal the pylon was just a little too late. Probes getting pulled to fight this, and it looks like that will be enough to push this away. A few more probes going down. Both players down to 25 and 24 workers. Nightmare needs to see that this base is here. Could have gotten a couple extra probe SCV kills there. Well, Nightmare pulls back. Gonna leave this warp gate a little bit exposed. Down goes that medevac. Finally, this entire double drop has been taken out. Nightmare pops another Colossus. This super low one stays alive at 22 kills. That is an MVP Colossus for Nightmare right now. And this game continues. So ByuN is getting set up defensively on 2 bases. He's not really mining from this one right now. I feel like this is a bait base that he's just going to lift and pull back into his main if he needs to. Oh no! ByuN sending a medevac through the middle of the map, not anticipating that Nightmare was about to attack him again, but Nightmare is kind of pulling a hero here and just following up his all-in with another all-in. This one tank is not going to be enough. There is another tank on the high ground, but the low ground one gets taken down. Not a lot of bio here, but the Vikings pushing back the Colossi, pushing back the Warp Prism. Tank coming down now. There is some bio down here. He's going to stim it forward. He might need to pull the boys against this. Oh, that's so dicey. This siege tank doing a lot of damage in the back. This Warp Prism going to take a lot of hits from the Vikings, but it will stay alive. Nice save on the Colossus. Again, the Vikings go down. Great target fire from Nightmare. The tank is being repaired, but it finally falls. The Colossi are both so low. There's no Marines here to hit the Warp Prism, though, so the micro potential is insane. Oh, this Colossus has 29 kills, and Nightmare is keeping the pressure on. He's killed 13 more SCVs, but he only has 32 workers back at home. So while, yes, Nightmare's doing a lot here, he doesn't have a main. So it's 2 base to like 1.5-ish right now. I don't know. This game is insane. ByuN is fighting for his life. Nightmare microing this Colossus with every ounce of energy he has. There is no depot here, so it's free high ground vision for these Adepts. They could finish that shade, but I feel like that's not a great idea. NightMare is absolutely playing with fire with this Warp Prism just flying through the main base. But he's microing every ounce of value he can out of it. The SCVs are now vulnerable as 2, 3, 4 more are going to go down. Oh, this Colossus needs to be so careful. Oh, the Marine's going to stim forward, going to try to get on top of it. These are +1 Marines. Warp Prism. Okay. The Adepts and the Zealots force this third base to go back up onto the high ground. There's no charge. There's no glaives. I don't even think there's a Twilight Council. NightMare's just going to push in with slow Zealots and regular Adepts against this Bio army. I don't think it's going to work, though. But I guess it's distracting in the meantime. This Colossus is getting even more damage. That's 47 kills, this Colossus. Make that 48, 49. That's going to be a 50-kill Colossus right now for NightMare. And he's going to warp in more Adepts. He's only on 46 probes back at home. It's basically 2 bases. He's going to put down the main again. But ByuN's on 27 workers. He's got triple mule, but he's running out of mineral patches. Look at the main. It's got 2 mineral patches. The natural is starting to mine out. It's going to lose a couple of these mineral patches very soon. This one's about to go. Oh my god, 49 kills. Can it get 50? 50 kill Colossus. Let's go. Oh my god, NightMare. Absolutely killing it with this micro. And now he's got a bunch of Stalkers. Another Colossus. There's 1 siege tank and 1 Viking. We got to keep an eye on this Colossus. We have to. I hope this Colossus stays alive. I think NightMare is on the verge of winning this. There's actually a 2nd siege tank in the main I did not see. And a lot of, actually like a decent amount of bio here for ByuN. NightMare is playing a little bit afraid as these pass by each other like ships in the day. Is Viking going to push out and just do a little bit of damage? There's Adepts in there, so they're just going to leave. This drop is heading across the map, but there's a few Stalkers back at home. No shield battery here just yet. Finally, a Twilight Council for NightMare. I think NightMare's put himself in a very good position here, but ByuN has some tools at his disposal. He's going to get on top of some of these probes and just get a bunch of probe kills right away. Ooh, these Stalkers not having a great time either. They are going to kill the medevac, though, so this is a suicide mission suddenly. The Adepts try to drop in, but they get pushed away without getting any kills. So ByuN he's pulling it back, man. Look at the worker count, 36 to 35. Now again, ByuN's mining is hot garbage right now. It's hot garbage. Let's take a look at that income. Not good. He's mining super inefficiently. The worker count is not telling this story here. He needs this third desperately. He's going to go take it, but I feel like this is the opportunity for NightMare. He's got Blink halfway done. He's got that Dark Shrine on the way. That is a sick move right now, dude. Sick move. But I feel like this third base is a lot more vulnerable than that natural ever was. Well, the Warp Prism going to drop these 3 Adepts off. Some SCVs in danger, forced to pull away from mining. A couple of SCVs going down. The Vikings might be able to take this Prism out. They will at least push him away, but now in comes NightMare. Oof, a bunch of Stalkers just tanking those tank shots, and NightMare not taking a good engagement. The Colossus stays alive, though, so he's still got a shot while that Colossus is alive. He doesn't have Blink yet. I feel like now he kind of has to wait for charge. Against this many Colossi, this many, or tanks, excuse me, this many tanks, this many Marauders. Charge lots would actually be fantastic here. There's not a single Marine in this army. No Marines for ByuN. Who needs them, dude? Why would you get Marines when you could instead get Marauders and tanks? NightMare pulls back. It looks like he's just going to take a 4th. He's realized this is becoming a macro game. But NightMare's, I would say, definitely ahead in this macro game. But ByuN has some advantages for him right now. Oh, the DTs are coming in. But ByuN has spotted them. He sees them. He's going to scan one. He's got another scan available. This one's going to get a couple of SCV kills before going down, but just the 2. It's good defense there from ByuN. ByuN is the upgrade lead. He's going to have +1 armor finishing around the same time as +1 attack of NightMare, so he should be able to maintain a 1 upgrade lead for just a little while, although I feel like an armoring is infinitely far away for ByuN right now. So 2-2 might not be coming for a while. But NightMare's tech, it feels just like it's so far ahead. He's got Charge finishing up. He's got the Templar Archives finishing. He already has, again, these 2 Colossi. 50 kills, dude. 50 kills. This Colossus is an absolute god. ByuN knows about this proxy, so I feel like he should go kill it. Yeah. He's just been so afraid of NightMare attacking again. But he's finally going to be able to take that proxy out. This game still super even. The army supplies are dead even. ByuN down a few workers, but again, with mules, relatively even income. We do see NightMare ahead a bit, but overall, he has been ahead by quite a lot. And that's a lot of it has to do with ByuN not taking this base until his main is mined out. Whereas NightMare lost his main, remember? So his main actually still has minerals and gas left. So NightMare is kind of chilling economically back at home. His 4th base is also done and has probes at it. He is getting stormed, but we have ghosts coming out of ByuN. It's such a hard game to call because we've already seen a couple of bad engagements from NightMare. He ran into those siege tanks, and if he takes a bad engagement, ByuN can absolutely still win this. ByuN's army is strong. He's got 1-1. He's got a lot of bile, a lot of marauders. He's got these tanks in a beautiful position out here. NightMare's threatening to push up this ramp, but honestly, it's a dicey move. He's got to be super careful. I'm worried about this Colossus. I mean, this Colossus is... This is the game-winning Colossus here for NightMare. If he wins this game, it is thanks to this Colossus. And it's on the front lines with 15 hit points and 150 shields. It's not much help. Ooh, Prism tries to get in again, but good Viking positioning from ByuN. Sends it away. NightMare just taking a 5th. Might as well, I guess. ByuN's 4th base is turning into a planetary. This game is... This is becoming a full macro game. ByuN has successfully turtled himself to the macro game. Puts up a sensor tower. I mean, this is... I thought this game was over. I didn't know who it was over for, but this for sure looked like an over game a few times already. Now ByuN's got the armory finishing up. He's got double eBay, so he can start up 2-2. Well, hold on, NightMare. Starting up +1 air weapons as he's got 2 more Stargates on the way. Does he have a fleet beacon? Not yet. There it goes. That's beautiful. There's the fleet beacon. I guess it was just the 1 Stargate. No, there's the 2nd one. And a 3rd one going up. Oh, storm drops. Woo! 9 SCVs go down. He does lose the Prism with the High Templar. But that's still hot. That's still hot. Scan sees the army. ByuN deciding to move out. He wants to get some EMPs. Oh, these Colossi. Be careful, Colossus. Zealots trying to split down. I love this movement from the Zealots. Colossus gets EMP'd. Oh, it's going to die. Oh, it's staying alive. Super shield battery keeping it up. It gets 51 kills. The storm's coming in from the top right. Actually hitting the Zealots kind of a lot. But ByuN's got to tap out. And hold on. Oh, I think that Colossus lived. I think we count that. What a game, man. NightMare holds on, closes it out, and wins his first KSL. What a fantastic game to end on. That was beautiful. The 50 kill Colossus. Damn. We didn't even get to see carriers. We didn't even get to that. But we didn't need it. That game got so insane. That was beautiful. Beautiful. What a game. What a series, man. NightMare versus ByuN. Who would have thought? Banger of the night.